Hello everyone, this is the Marian Catholic coming to you with charity and clarity. The alleged apparitions of Medjugorje have proven to be an unprecedented religious and cultural phenomenon since they began in 1981. People from all over the world have traveled to Medjugorje in the hope of witnessing a miracle, experiencing a cure, finding peace, and even out of idle curiosity. It is a great tragedy, therefore, that all of these people have been deceived by what is perhaps the greatest religious hoax of the 20th century. Our Lord himself states in the Gospel that the tree shall be known by its fruit, and the Church has consistently applied this teaching to its investigation of alleged apparitions throughout its history. Supporters of Medjugorje will often point to the good fruit of the apparitions as evidence of their validity, such as conversions, healings, and extraordinary occurrences. What these people choose to ignore, however, is the poisonous fruit of Medjugorje, which has manifested itself in three ways: by disobedience to church authority, the proliferation of heresy, and the blasphemous banality of the messages themselves. Remember, these apparitions were initially condemned by the local bishop of Mostar in 1986, after several years of investigation. Despite this condemnation, however, Father Tomislav, who was the pastor of the six visionaries at the time, refused a direct written order from his bishop to remove the visionaries from public display and put an end to their visions. It is because of Bishop Zanek's condemnation of Medjugorje that the so-called Virgin of Medjugorje issued a threat to him. On June 21, 1983, she was purported to have said the following, quote, "Tell the Father Bishop that I request his urgent conversion to the events of the Medjugorje parish. I am sending him the penultimate warning. If he is not converted, or will not be converted, my judgment as well as that of my son Jesus will strike him," unquote. Conspicuously enough, that never actually happened. In January of 1982, two Franciscan priests were expelled from their order due to misconduct. One of the priests had apparently fathered a child by a nun, and yet in spite of this heinous violation of his religious vows, the Virgin of Medjugorje is purported to have requested that these priests be allowed to continue to celebrate Mass and hear confessions. When the seer Vica was questioned as to whether one should obey the Holy Father or the Virgin, she simply responded, "The Pope can say what he wants. I'm telling it as it is." In other words, it doesn't matter what the Pope says because the Virgin of Medjugorje told me this. The problem with that is that the real Mother of God would never say anything to incite the faithful to disobedience against the Holy Father, not even upon her own request, especially not when the Holy Father's judgment upon two faithless priests is justified. Even apart from inciting disobedience, the so-called Virgin of Medjugorje is on record as upholding lies, errors, and even heresy. On October 1, 1981, the Virgin allegedly stated that all religions are equal before God, a blatant heresy which contradicts the teachings of the Church that Catholicism is the only true religion by which man can reach God. The Virgin is also alleged to have stated the following, quote, "I do not dispose of all graces. Jesus prefers that you address your petitions directly to him rather than through an intermediary," unquote. This is a lie which contradicts not only the writings of the great Marian giants like Louis de Montfort, but it also contradicts the ancient belief among pious Christians that Our Lady is the mediatrix of graces, that every grace granted to humanity by Christ passes first through her hands. As if heresy and error wasn't enough, the interactions between the seers and the so-called Virgin of Medjugorje have consistently been banal to the point of blasphemy. In the fall of 1981, the seer Jakov asked the Virgin if his favorite soccer team would win the world title that season. This immediately caused the other seers to burst into uncontrolled laughter, apparently forgetting the awesome dignity of the woman whose presence they were supposedly graced with. On various other occasions, The seers allegedly shook hands with the Virgin, handled her veil and dress with hardly a second thought, and frequently engaged the Virgin in superficial, worldly conversation. But what disturbs me most of all is a story related by the seer Mirjana, who said that one day a demon appeared to them, disguised in the clothing of the Holy Virgin. After a few moments, the demon disappeared, and a few moments after that, the Virgin of Medjugorje appeared. And the first thing that she said to the children was, "Sorry about that." Of course, it is possible that the devil appeared to the children in an effort to confuse them and was banished by Our Lady. But it is also possible that the devil has been the one appearing to the children all along, and that on this particular day, he just forgot to put his makeup on. In a similar vein, Saint Padre Pio is recorded to have experienced what he initially thought was an apparition of Our Lady. But when he looked down at her feet, he noticed that they were not visible because they were covered by her dress. Padre Pio instantly recognized this as a deception of the devil and commanded the apparition to leave. According to Saint Pio, the devil cannot imitate the feet of the Holy Virgin, because it is by her feet that his own ugly head is to be crushed. The seers of Medjugorje have publicly stated, for the record, that the feet of the Virgin of Medjugorje are not visible. However, in every authentic apparition, such as Fatima, Lourdes, and Guadalupe, the feet of Our Lady have always been visible. I'm scared. Everything I have just mentioned is but a tiny fraction of the confusion, error, and blasphemy that Medjugorje has produced. It may very well be that the apparitions have led to conversions and cures, and that many people have seen extraordinary occurrences of nature. But if we are to be prudent, we must look at the bigger picture. Satan will allow for individual conversions to Christ, if by doing so, he may sow error and division within the church as a whole. Even a devil can cure a disease, and even a devil can make you think that you're seeing the sun spin in the sky when it might not actually be. My sister is a registered nurse, and one day she told me a story about a guy she used to work with who went to Medjugorje. He was a total atheist, and the only reason he went was out of curiosity. He wanted to witness a miracle. Nothing happened to him during his visit, but when he traveled home about a week later, he started to see the sun spin. At last, the Virgin of Medjugorje was reaching out to him. This man is now in prison on charges of possessing child pornography. In light of the extensive information that is available to prove the demonic origin of these apparitions, it is a wonder that more people have not recognized them for the sham that they really are. If you would like to know the complete, unadulterated truth behind the Medjugorje apparitions and how the whole thing got started, you need look no further than The Medjugorje Deception by Michael Jones. The research that this man has done is extensive, professional, and eye-opening. Please do yourself a favor and get a copy. May God love you and Our Lady protect you. I am the Marian Catholic.